teacher who said mind is the enemy, and I turned it off right away because it didn't sit well with me, because I knew that the mental state, well, is not an enemy, but sure, maybe you can toss it in that square.
Yeah.
But yes.
Yeah. Well, that's sometimes how fast you can get it also, is how
uh,
fast you turn them off. Yeah.
uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
you want to be one of the things because uh, everyone's going to give it the meaning it gives it. Yeah. So you attempt to try to be as clear as possible with the hopes that something sneaks in. Yeah. Through the interpretation, because it gets interpreted from everyone's point of view. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
Right.
mean, I found that out early. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah,
And
that
one
was
common theme,
beautiful.
It's just, it's sort of like trying to hit a note that's impossible to play. So it keeps you occupied.
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
one common meaning is just to make it an enemy, whether it's the mental processes, the mind, or like yesterday with a friend that wants to see that taking language to be like one primary problem that we can bring up,
Mm-hmm.
but to take it to the extent where he did it, language is an enemy. Like that's a really common
Mm-hmm.
reaction. Or the parasite, becomes a devil.
Right.
That's a really common reaction.
Right. Yeah.
Well, when I was first starting to do the things, more publicly, people had a real interest, a number of them, to try to change the language. So, so but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't sign up for that. You just
Oh.
wear it loosely. See, the part of the point is you can't be clear here in a way as what you're not, because it's no matter how much it rows and takes the water out, it's an imbalanced boat. Yeah, it's got bias perspective and limited ones, and so this idea of you just recognize the whole kit and caboodle can be helpful, healthily questioned. It's not an enemy or a hate, or it's just failed. Yeah, I mean that's the dilemma. It's failed. Yeah, and that's its value because it's hopefully it comes to a point sooner than later that there's a recognition it's failed. So
That's true.
then you're open to other possibilities. Yeah.
Yeah, even that failure as the normal connotation of failure fails, right?
Mhm. Right.
And the thing is, you see, people believe a lot of things failed, but it's very rarely does the modality we try to grok things is questioned. Yeah. So we keep changing things, but we're reading it the same way. So it doesn't matter because the heavy meaning we give everything dominates the everything, so to speak. Yeah. So it's just best to see the basic operating systems that are going on, see that they're not personal. There's no volition involved. You're not doing it on purpose. It's just happening, and then there's a lot of relief available there because the opposite has been the assumption that we are doing it and somehow that makes us wrong. We haven't been able to get the message. I must be stupid. I should have gotten it by now. I meditated more than these other people at the retreat, and so on and so forth. It just can't get out of itself as itself. So that's the value. Yeah. I mean, aren't you exhausted by it already?
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, really, there's so many quick, like, it's like, all right, I want the speed of a rabbit, so you have the rabbit legs, and I want the life of a turtle, so you put a shell on that, and you try to make a hybrid, and it's sort of like this. I'm going to combine, cognitive therapy with Buddhism and throw some Kabbalah in there, and obviously a trip to Peru and take some odd, whatever the that ceremonial drug, do those things, and you know, it's all going to fail in a way because that's how it succeeds. If life would support our inclinations, we would continue those inclinations. But something keeps telling us something's not working with the hopes it will finally be recognized. It's not, you may call it me, but it leads to not me. Yeah. Yeah. You don't even get to the me if it's them and this and that and that. You know, but at least when you recognize, yeah, out of 15 big, you know, relationships with women, none of them seem to work. What was the one constant in all those relationships? Me. You know, why does the party suck when I arrive? Yeah, because you arrived. That's why. How can I get to the party without arriving? Well, there you go. Yeah, you got to give up the idea that there's somewhere to go. Yeah, the one who has the idea that there's somewhere to go, that has to be looked at. Because if you don't, there's always going to be a somewhere to go or something to do. It's not going to stop. Yeah. It isn't. You can't wait for it to stop because it won't. Yeah. But you can see it, and hopefully that seeing it doesn't become an exhaustive study of what you're not. You just study enough to recognize it's not you. That's all. You don't need to become a master of not you. You just hit a point where it's sufficiently clear it's not you, and that's the end of the semester, so to speak. Yeah? Then it's time for a siesta. You now rest, finally. Yeah. So, yeah. We did a lot of talks this week already, if I remember. Yeah. So if anyone has a question, or I'll just share and see where it takes us. It always seems to be an interesting event. So the idea that I got captured by was this idea of negation as the primary direction of investigation. Yeah. Because if we are what we're looking for, then obviously that what would be questioned is, well, who's looking for it? Because this obviously wouldn't be what's looking. What's looking is probably pretty clear. It's looking. It's what's looking. So therefore, there's something going on that that makes it, in a weird way, super okay to use what you're looking for to look for it. You know, I don't know. It just seems like a crazy idea if you take off the emperor's clothes and you recognize, wait a minute, yeah, why would I? And then the point is, it does. That's not the end of it, because then you would say, well, I'm going to stop. No, you question who is it. Yeah, it's not about changing what it's doing. You just change the sense of identification as it. Yeah. Because you fall into a trap of rehabilitation and getting better, yeah, which will the attention and interest will still be going on you, yeah. Even searching for God, the interest and attention is mostly on you, not God, yeah. You're the knower of God. Every effort to get to become God, so to speak, or find God or whatever. So this isn't about, oh, all right, we're going to set off on a course and stop doing all this shit. No. We just see it's not us that's doing it. Yeah? Yeah. So therefore, there isn't that one condition. All right, for me to be okay, this has to stop. No. You're inherently okay. Yeah? There's no condition that needs to be met to be what you are. You already are. Yeah? Now, you may believe there's conditions, and you may have to go through that activity to realize you don't have conditions. But the fact is, there's no barrier between right now and right now. There isn't. Yeah. So this is the bread and butter of selfing. It implies relevance all the time. Either it's going to be the one that leads you to truth, or it's blocking you from the truth. It always has a huge role in its story. Yeah. And it's very scary to recognize its irrelevance, because basically you see how much it's dependent on relevance. How much, yeah? Because it doesn't have a value in and of itself. It implies value constantly, yeah? I remember, when I had some very strange behaviors when I was in an intimate relationship. I would get sort of a vague paranoia, and then this thing would come up where I saw them as the enemy, and I wanted to test their love, so to speak, already having them failed to begin with, yeah? And I forgot where I was going with this. And so I would do a number on the person, and they were sort of available to that number because they liked me a lot or loved me, yeah? But at one point, it ended. There was a decision made on their side that they didn't care anymore about me. Yet I still believed they were like a big catcher's mitt of affection. So I would run the story on them, and they wouldn't buy it. And I was left without the clothes, and I was totally irrelevant to that person. And it was unbelievable. All my shenanigans were based on me being relevant to her. Yeah. As soon as the relevance had been beaten out of the picture, when I tried to do my little "come on, dance with me" in this little, she wouldn't. There would be no interest. I couldn't. You couldn't. There was no surface to itch. You couldn't prod or anything. And I remember how the mental state felt. It was unbelievably threatened. Yeah. And then so. As it is outside, it's also inside. So you can see, in a way, that's all the selfing is looking for. It's implying that there's someone, and that someone is relevant. Yeah? In other words, so relevant that you either have it to win it over to your journey to find the truth, or it's going to obscure every step of the way. Isn't that relevance? Yeah? You're giving a meaning to something that doesn't have that meaning. This is like the skin in the snake, when the skin starts really flipping out on the snake. Because the skin is living comfortably as the snake. The snake is under that trance. So basically, however the skin feels is how the snake feels. Yeah? And then that situation arises, which has nothing to do with volition. Just every year, the snake skin molts, it falls off, and a new one arises. And the snake may not be aware of that because the skin's working on it, but the skin's aware of that. So when the molting is starting to come up, the skin knows the jig is up, yeah? Because what it's calling the snake is going to fall off, and they're still going to be snaking. So the last thing it wants for that to happen, it will do anything, yeah? And that's when it pulls out, buy lots of moisturizer. It starts trying to manage and control. Watch out for that rock. Don't hit that twig, because it wants to prolong, yes, the skin, yeah? Even though it's going to be hallelujah for the snake. This is the duality of this event, yeah? All the streams and currents that make up us don't go in the same direction. Yeah? There's a lot of them are going towards contraction, and then there's sprouting of expansion. But the contraction wants to keep pulling in, yeah? And it needs our interest and attention to seem to do that. Nothing happens, but it sure seems like it happens, yeah? So basically, that interest and attention is what gives relevance to that which is not there. Yeah? When that interest and attention starts moving away from this idea, that's when it flips out. The system knows, like, we may not hear it, but in the system's dashboard, there's a lot of emergency lights going off. Yeah. The butterfly figured out this is just a cocoon. It's going to break and go. So, and that's why, like, I feel Ramana said, hey, because people were talking, he says, listen, the head is already in the tiger's mouth. Yeah, it's actually, because nothing can be done, it's always a done deal. Yeah, this is just, don't you realize it? Losing in this period of time isn't a loss. Yeah. You can't lose concerning what you are. It can only seemingly be forgotten for a period of time with tons of breaks and interruptions. Yeah? What it does, it has an incredible marketing where it will forget miracles very quickly, and it will attend to things that provide a larger reflection of itself, basically. Yeah? There's nothing right or wrong with it. It's mechanical. And thank God it's not like AI. It's not advancing. It's mechanical, like a program. It's not getting its own and then it's going to produce. No, it doesn't produce any own consciousness or anything like that. It's a mechanical programming. Whatever occurs, it comes up and claims that occurrence to imply something. Yeah? Over and over and over again. In other words, really, that idea in Zen with the finger pointing to the moon, the finger, there was no moon to begin with. Maybe they missed something because, yeah, that's what it implies. There's a moon. So all the pointing keeps reinforcing the moon, but no, all the pointing implies there's a moon to reinforce. Yeah? It doesn't reinforce anything. It keeps implying it. Yeah? And then when it seems to be so, then the reinforcement, then the obsession to keep it going occurs. But there's never been a moon to point at. There's no thing. Yeah? We're not a person that's going to become an unperson. Yeah? This is just dreaming. Yeah. How can it be dreaming? All right, use that thing we always use for Ramana with the lady with the necklace implying our nature, yeah? And then she believes she lost our nature, which she didn't, but she believes it. And in that belief, she gets bummed out. Now, her story is she's bummed out because she's lost the necklace, but she's bummed out and the necklace hasn't been lost. What's that but dreaming? What is that but dreaming? If I'm bummed out and the story is because I've lost the necklace that cannot be lost, that's dreaming 101. You know what I mean? Nothing's changed. The nature's there. It's always there. And then you can see the dualisticness of it. So now she's bummed out because she lost it. Then she believes when she re-engages with it, she's found it as if it was lost. But it's always been there at all times, yeah? But her story, the dreaming is, she has the capability of losing it, and thank God she had the capability of finding it again. Because a lot of people never find it again. Yeah, and now she's blissed out. But her blissing out is because she found something that was lost, but it was never lost. Yeah? So this is what the Course of Miracles talks about, causeless effects. Yeah? There's effects. She had effects believing she lost the necklace. She was bummed out. She had an effect when she thought she found the necklace. She was in joy. But they're causeless because there was no losing or finding the necklace. Yes? That's dreaming. So we believe we've done something that's exiled us from that inherent nature. That's not true. Yeah. Or we're afraid we're gonna do something already, so we're basically in the precondition of loss already because we have so much faith. There's so much faith in the head. It's telling us we're gonna blow it later. So basically it's as if it's not here now. There's a lot of things to see in that. First of all, it's all based on false premises. And secondly, what an amazing power to make shit out of nothing. Really. No other animal has past and future, I don't believe. And if they do, it's a pretty small entrance and exit. We got a fucking giant House of Horrors and amusement park in there. Most of the day, most of us are driven and affected more by what's not happening than what's happening. It's actually happening because we're what's happening, entertaining it. That's the only reason why there's an effect. But it is a causeless effect, you see, because it's not happening. So the head can affect itself by thinking of next week, but there's no next week now. Those are causeless effects, yes? They don't have a cause. So they can be easily remedied because they're truly imaginary. Yeah? In that one example, the lady never lost the necklace, never will lose the necklace, always has or always is the necklace. But there's the dreaming, and the whole point is not to stop the dreaming, but to see you're not the dreaming. To see you're not the dreamt, yeah? So when the lady could have seen from the complete obviousness of always from the necklace about the losing and finding of the necklace. And what would be the way it saw it? It would see it as, I'm not that believed it lost the necklace, and I'm not that which believes it found the necklace. Yeah? That's the freedom from the bondage of self. You don't need any more, 10 minutes sitting by yourself will show you tons of evidence. Yeah. That's why, Hoang Po, beautiful, he cuts out so much by saying whatever can be perceived can't be perceiving. Because if you listen to the head, it's based on the exact opposite idea. It believes what's perceiving is this perceived. Yeah. What you're perceiving as Paul is the perceiving. And that's like a knockout punch. It didn't go 12 rounds. He said one simple sentence and let it hit everyone. It's like he could see all the imaginary pins fall in the bowling alley. Whatever can be perceived can't be perceiving. I don't understand it. All right, come to talks and people will share and hope they'll shed a certain amount of understanding so there can be a recognition where you are about it. Yeah? So therefore you'll have a tactile feeling of satsang. You'll sense it. Like an avalanche will be felt. You'll feel the wind and the coolness of the avalanche. You'll sense it. And sooner or later, there'll be a deep intimation of what you are. Yeah? You can't know it. You can't do yourself into it. You can't study it. You can't experience it. But there's an intimation, sort of like a sense that grows of its always, every time, at all times presence. Yeah? So I hope now, some of us, we come to the Zoom, and in 5 minutes, we're settled right into that point. Yeah? And it's almost like every week riding a bike. You know how to ride a bike. Yeah? And there you go. It keeps, and then a lot of the assumptions start falling away. Yeah, the little bit of time that makes a huge difference that it keeps placing in this thing, that it may take you a little longer to get there, gets cut out. You see, there's no need to get into the moment. You can't be out of the moment. You start seeing stuff that cuts all the conditions and the requirements it was setting up to prolong its fucking relevance. And then, there hits a point where there's a huge quantum leap and you're just chilled, yeah? And something gets revealed that has its own pulse from now on, yeah? It pulses in you like an unspoken yes, like a never-ending echo, like a reverberation that had no beginning or end. It's not played, therefore it's not unplayed. It's just, and now you have this whole event is established in something that's solid, yeah. And then, as Zen would say, you start seeing blue is blue and red is red. Things become clear without trying to make them clear, yeah. And you do get established in satsang in a sense. Yeah. And now a lot of people that come here, they're not trying to get anything. They just enjoy the space. Hallelujah. Yeah. Same with me. Yeah. Not really. I just show. I'm a. I don't keep too many commitments, but these I attempt to keep, as Mike and other people know. But I'm pretty good at showing up at the Paul Hedderman talks. I am. Yeah. Get here 1 minute before, but I get here. So yeah. I hope all is well. And if it isn't, all is still well. So, all right. Anyone wants to share anything?
Yeah, Peter has his hand up.
Let me see, Peter.
Hey, Paul.
Hey. Trying to find. Oh, Pete, I see you now. Peter, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing, Paul?
Good, good.
I don't know if you remember the last time we talked, I asked you about non-duality, addictive behavior, and skillful means. And you gave me a talk kind of about level confusion on one hand, and also just helping somebody out of a burning house, not telling them, giving a speech about non-duality when they're in a burning house, getting them out of the house, and then maybe attending to them being at a bunch of fires later, the possibility of them being the fire starter. And something that seems to come up for me is a desire to, I've never particularly had problems with alcohol or hard drugs, marijuana certainly at different times in my life, and it's not something that I use with any frequency now, but a desire to just avoid substances, avoid situations. And there's a lot of mental energy going towards that type of thing. It feels like a sort of efforting that on one hand is completely ridiculous, but it's a feeling. It's a deep feeling. There's a recognition, a mental recognition of, no matter how much mental energy goes to anything, it's not a problem. It's just mechanical conditioning, like you're saying. But there's like a deeper feeling of you could call it resistance, I don't know, whatever, that kind of lives in this wanting to be healthy or wanting to be sober or whatever, completely sober, you know. I don't know. I was wondering if you had anything to say about that.
Yeah, Peter. Well, when framed in recovery, uh, that's something to bring to the idea of a higher power in you and ask it to sort of direct that, yeah, instead of you directing it, yeah, and see what happens in this little dreaming with the things and bodies and stuff. I think what's much more accessible as a working format during the day is surrender. Yeah, just a recognition of your lack of managerial quality. Yes, and realizing that your own interest is sometimes the biggest problem. So
Yeah.
therefore, yeah, I can't get interested in getting out of that interest. That would be more interest. So, and I like the idea. I have an intimate. It's like when you were a kid and you had one of those imaginary friends. Yeah. Well, the higher power is a great, and the idea of surrender is like it's like a very tasty sandwich, from New York,
Mhm.
from a Jewish deli. Very tasty sandwich. For some reason, I'm in my own gut. I feel very clear about surrender. Yeah, and because of I was forced to surrender a lot of times in life. Forced to surrender to the cops. Forced to surrender to go into a 2-year program. A lot of things. So I found that the most important thing about the surrender is what you're surrendering to, really. So through the program, the best way I've ever been treated through the idea of surrender was in the program of recovery. Yeah, because of this sense of a higher power. I feel it's a very if it's just a certain expression, it's a very gracious, very win-win, very externally beneficial higher power. Yeah, I've seen it really give people lives here a lot just by just by having the main theme of their life be altered, having a higher power be the director, other than themselves. I've seen lives go really well. Yeah, and tons of coincidences, and tons of I've seen people's whole life is based on entering recovery. They met their wife, they got their job, yes, they bought their house by a realtor in AA, da da da. Yes, it's just mind-boggling. Yeah, and they were guys sleeping in a box in like the Bowery. So, and I haven't. It's not once out of 1,000. It's quite common. So, I like the idea of especially when I want something. That triggers a surrender because I know I always seem to get unintended consequences when I really want something. So it usually blows up in my face. So I'm gonna surrender that as quickly as possible, formally or just like intimately. I'm more in the intimate phase. I don't have to write it out or anything, but I just sort of, yeah. I'm in the habit of surrender, when it comes to the action figure and desires and shit like that.
Hmm.
So that's what I would recommend. Yeah. See, some people have a problem with the needs and the levels of the action figure based on maybe an intellectual understanding of non-duality.
Yeah.
So they're almost as if they're in conflict, which I don't see any of. I think
Hmm.
I think your life, in a way, some of the best parts of the action figure life is being like an art project and to enjoy the thrill of witnessing miracles and stuff like that. Yeah, yeah. So you know, yeah. So I just just that's my suggestion. Yeah, yeah.
Th- that's beautiful. Thank you, Paul. I just want to bring something up that I guess I'm hung up on, and I don't mean to put guilt on anybody or anything. I don't really, when it comes down to it, believe in an individual who has free choice, free will, and choice. But, like one thing that trips me up is just seeing the horrors of animal agriculture and not wanting to contribute to that. And like, is eating meat, is buying meat addiction? I don't know. I don't really think it would be called an addiction. I kind of think of it sometimes as that, but there's just like an emotional something around me consuming animal products, other people consuming it. You can like just feel the emotion in me right now. It's like, all right, well, this isn't a problem, but there's just a lot of emotion there. And it's like, I don't want this to be the way that it is. It is the way that it is. And it's just, that's more the heart of what I'm getting at. It's just like, it's not just, animals. It's so much about life where it's just like, fuck, I just don't want this to be the way that it is.
Well, it isn't. It's appearing this way, but thank God it isn't the way it is. But it sure appears this way. And again, I would surrender that emotional energy to something that will probably put it to better use than your head will. Yeah. Yeah. And see where it takes you, my friend. With that kind of feeling, it's going to have an impact. So, and see, like we say in recovery, you have a new employer. So you're being used by something other than your head. And then just honor it when you watch it use you in this topic. Yeah, really. So that may be your seed assignment. So yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. There's a lot of places. This place is unbearable in certain. Yeah, the whole event in so many ways. Uh, you come to a point where you may be able to understand the information, but you lose comprehension of it. It just, yeah, it's beyond. We're outmatched, yeah, as the action figure. We've got to put our guidance system in better hands, so to speak, yeah, so that we can be put to use and to be a maximum use to ourselves and others, yeah. We're not going to do that job as the head. It's just, it's too compromised and it won't admit it. It will never admit that it can't get out of self. It won't. So, yeah, yeah, bro. Well, take it easy, man. Yeah, and come back when you like. And
Can I just ask one thing? kind of I kind of like sur- surrender. I don't even know what to say about it. But just a kind of like what can be a sort of, at least from my perspective, a sort of obnoxious. Maybe obnoxious isn't the right word, but it's sort of like careless behavior around, call it surrender or whatever you want, where it's like this person is claiming surrender, but at least from this perspective, you know, that seems like a load of shit. It seems like they're using surrender as an excuse to be, you know, whatever you want, and not to make a problem out of that, but just to kind of see it what it is. I don't know if that's something that you've come across, or that's
Of
something that
course,
you've figured out.
the head will use whatever it comes in contact with, for sure.
Yeah.
So some people will hit a point where they'll want you to come and see them surrender, as if it's a show. Yeah, but this is the head. The head is going to claim everything. Yeah. If it doesn't claim, just like these messages, the, because of the way where the program is, the messenger is usually emphasized and not the message. It's totally ass backwards. Yeah. Because the messenger will always fail you in a way. So that you only rely, like in India they would say, the inner guru, in the Sat guru, the inside. That's the only reliable. And to me, it's the same. It's the message, yeah. And of course, the head can try to claim the message and use it for its own advantage. Hopefully, that's like a teenage type of period. You'll lose interest in that, and you'll stay with the invitation, and then non-duality will have roots way past the surface soil of the intellect and go deep, yeah. And then, yeah. So, yeah, just just do the best where you're sitting, bro. Yeah. And yeah, that energy you had about that topic, if given over, will be used. Yes, for sure. All right. And then come back and report and see how it's going. Let us know. Yeah.
Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, you're welcome, my friend.
Thank you, Peter. Uh, Eric, Toronto Eric.
Eric from Toronto.
Hey, Paul. In my book, it says, like a lot of times, it says LNMBY, and it means that life is none of my business, and I don't know why these things are happening. And it kind of allows me to, remove myself out of those affairs, like you always say. But I wanted to ask you, in one of the promises that the book talks about, and I know this isn't the 12-step thing, but it says in AA, you will find freedom from care, worry, and boredom, right? It's one of the main promises, I think, that the big book gives you. And I wanted to ask you if care, worry, and boredom is like the foundation of the selfing.
The foundation of the selfing is imaginary, first
Like
of all.
okay.
Yeah. So let's say there's care and uncare, there's the other ones, and it's opposite. All it wants to do is put the sense of itself before both of those. Yeah. So if it's uncaring, there's a you. If it's caring, there's a you. Yeah. So it tries to find itself as the axle to the dual wheels. Yeah. Yes. So this idea of, let's say, having an ego and then losing an ego, the one constant in there is the sense of the you. Yeah. The you that feels it has something and the you that feels it lost something. Yeah. All there is having and loss, losing. All there is caring, not caring. All this is what's going on. It's the sense of ownership. That's the point of bondage to what comes after. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Moment to
Yeah.
moment to moment. Maybe on a good day, there's caring, caring, caring. Maybe on a bad day, uncaring would be the dominant one. Are they forgotten pretty quickly? Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I know when you're not really busy trying to promote yourself, you're more available, much more available to be used. And so you'll reflect on that. You'll observe that. Yeah. And you will observe that something is doing for me what I can't do for myself. And there'll be an expansion of what you can't do for yourself. That's what happens, yeah? But the bondage of self isn't affected by what comes after the my. It's through the my. My caring, my uncaring, yes? That the my is that point, yeah? You see? So in a sense, at a meeting of this topic, the caring and uncaring are an auxiliary sort of thing, yeah? We want to see that sense of being the one who cares and uncares, yeah?
Gotcha. Yeah.
And see if that's you or not. We're not saying it's bad or good, but if it's not you, it'd be nice to know, I feel. It's getting most of the broadcast time. I'd like to see if there's other channels, yeah. Yeah. So this is the topic here. We're attempting to question the basis of this whole event, yeah. The interpretive event is based on an assumed fact that the perceiving is what can be perceived.
Mm-hmm.
That
Which is
Paul
not you.
it's Paul that's hearing, it's Paul that's feeling, it's Paul that's thinking, and Paul is just a thought. Yeah. Yeah. It's a thought that claims other thoughts. Yeah. So, yeah, that's the point we like to sort of keep coming back to, because truly that's where the real stabilizing relief is. It's not in a life of constantly being caring, but it's in a life empty of a self. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is your mind quiet throughout your day?
Well, I'm not throughout my day. Right now it is. Yeah. I don't have a meter that calculates and stores a memory of it being calm all day. But right now, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
There's really not much to go over, you know. So at the moment, I conveniently avoided what I needed to avoid. And I'm showing up to my commitments, to the commitment. Yeah.
Just keeping it simple. Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, yeah. Well, that's how
Cool.
it's grown that way. Yeah. I found early that if my head takes something to be really important, it gets a huge reflection out of that. So the biggest thing it thought was important in this life was spirituality. And man, did it fucking reflect a large image. Yeah. All the while thinking, as that large image, I was getting somewhere. Oops, I was mistaken. I really feel, seriously, interest and attention isn't in an idle mode. It's usually being directed by the mental states, yes? Desires, wants, aversions, all this stuff, yeah? You don't see that because we're looking from it most of the time, yeah? You don't see the distribution and what's directing interest and attention. When you get real relief, that gets noticed. You notice a lot of what you didn't notice before. Yeah, not with effort. It just becomes plain. It's almost like it's right. It's been right under our noses the whole time. Yeah, and you start seeing the formation of interest and attention, and how so much of it is used to reinforce the idea of you. Yeah. So like St. Francis said in that famous prayer we use in recovery, you know,
Mm-hmm.
basically it's in self-forgetting that you're reborn. Yeah. That's not saying self forgets. It's in self-forgetting. You forget self. Self doesn't forget. you forget the idea of self. Yeah. That's what happens when you see it's not you. There's a loss of interest in it. There is. And now your attention gets free to go other ways. Yeah. And then you see that now your being here is enriching the experience, not demanding an escape from the experience. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's pretty cool.
You said that you were very satisfied and content,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and
I
right, you
just
don't
had
have these
lasagna. I
expectations.
just had lasagna that my girlfriend made. I'm definitely, it was like an organic quaalude. I'm very content and satisfied right now. I'm pretty much content and satisfied. I've come up against a word here on big topics, which is enough, which is great. I really love the word enough. I've really, I'm really keen on interest. I am, because I see how self-interest has defeated most of us. Yeah. And I know that sometimes the person who has a lot of interest in being well makes themselves sick. Yes? There's so many examples that will reveal something if you just see it. Yeah. So the best way I'm healthy is not to be hovering around me all day. And in a weird way, I've been in a phase where I really don't do anything for my health. I mean, I stretch and shit, but I'm not taking 85 concoctions of herbal remedies or shit like that. I'm not doing anything for the knees or all the broken bones, and it's probably the healthiest I've ever been. Because I started to see in my own observation of this experience that my own vested interest is one of the biggest factors, yeah, of obscuring things. Yes? Like it says, any life run on self will hardly be a success. I have a lot of experience of that. Yeah. That's why whatever happens truly has value. Yeah. Because things can be told to you, things will be revealed to you that you were sort of predetermined to believe it without question. Yeah. I thought my interest would promote Paul's life. I didn't think, I had no idea that it was the worst. It was like collapsing in on itself all fucking day. Oh, man. That's why service was such an incredible, wow, service taught me a lot because I could see I could be in the worst kind of way up in what's not happening and go into a hospital and an institution meeting where people that were really screwed were probably not going to take the possibility of getting better again, but still the energy was so incredible that after 10 minutes I was completely freed from the story that had been occupying me all day. Yeah? It's amazing. Yeah? Like when people go to talks and they want to take notes, I took a lot of notes since I've been recovery, but no writing. I made notes of things and I recognized stuff. Yeah? And I recognized the value of this idea of service and surrender because I am not managerial quality. What's running this life does not succeed. Yeah. And there's no, I can put new tires on it, new fucking lights, new mirrors. It's not going to change the fundamental program system. Yeah. So basically, yeah, keep it simple is good. Yeah. Yeah. I don't see recovery and non-duality as two different topics. I see non-duality as the fact of life, and life could be seen as light, and therefore non-duality illuminates anything I'm involved with. It doesn't replace anything, it illuminates it. It brought more light to the program. Yeah. Yeah. And it just lit up so many of those sentences. And I just saw a bigger door to escape out of, in a way. Yeah. Even though the wisdom of escape is there is no escape. That's how you get out of here, is realizing you're not in here. Yeah. So, all right, bro.
Thank you, Eric. JP of Vietnam.
JP from Vietnam.
Hi, Paul. Thanks. Hi, everyone. I wanted to ask you about amends, and because that's kind of where I'm going in right now in this set of the steps I've been working in. And I'm sorry to bring the 12 steps to this meeting again. One of the things that I would notice before when I would make amends or an apology is it was so painful because it was always about me and self. It's like I'm making the amend because I'm wrong, I'm bad, I did something wrong, I hurt you, I'm a bad person. And even though I knew that was not the right attitude, I could never shake that. And so of course I do see it in a very different way today. I just want to ask you, what do you have to say about amends from this perspective today?
Well, amend means to change, yeah? So you basically, when I would make amends, I always mention recovery, that I was in this program of recovery. And basically, I was taking responsibility for my role in something, and I was basically saying, I'm going to try my best to not do that to any other person. Yeah, and there you go. And it isn't about if the person accepted the amends or not. I made the amends. Yeah, what happens after on their side is another story. So I did what I was asked to do through the program, and that's that. Yeah. But the whole point, and then there's the idea of living amends where sometimes there was just too much, like let's say with my mom. So basically, I had the intention, and I asked for the power to succeed in it, just to be a different type of person in sobriety. And thank God, in my experience, I had 2 years sobriety when my mother passed away, so she actually got the only gift she wanted to see about her son, which is for him to be sober, because she equated that to me being happy, because she definitely equated me being loaded as very unhappy. So she didn't care what kept me sober, or who did it, or whatnot. All she wanted to see that, and I was 2 years sober, and I made my amends to her, and my living amends. I've been making ever since, really. I did not understand, with self-centeredness, for some of us, you can't put yourself in other people's shoes. You don't know what it's like to have a relationship with you as the other, yeah? And it was a huge eye-opener when I started to feel the weight my mother had covered as a mother concerning me. Yeah, it was quite sobering, and it really motivates me to attempt to continue to live those amends, those living amends, those changes. Yeah, so that's how I see them. I think it's important to get to it because it's a powerful relief when you, for me, you take responsibility and then you start and it ends up accountability, because you get, when you look at what you did, you'll see there was something else doing a lot of it also. And so now you recognize this bondage of self. And yeah, it's a longer story. I go on Tuesday, Thursday. But thanks. We're going to shift from 12 steps to non-duality. But it already happened. It'll take no time whatsoever. All right. So anyone else?
Anybody else want to raise their hand? Chad has his hand up.
Chad.
Yes. One of the things I'm noticing as I'm listening to these talks is there's like there's something very dualistic that's happening inside of me, where on one hand I feel that there's something that gets it and is really enjoying the cosmic joke that seems to be talked about here all the time, and I find myself laughing. And then at other times I think that maybe there's areas that are getting uncovered or that are getting touched on that's causing me to lock up and contract and to want to close off and defend and protect that there's something that probably isn't sacred but is thought of as sacred. It's something that's connected to the false or the fake I. And I don't know the answer to that, but I feel like I should just say it and reveal it.
Great, yeah. Yes. It's a common diagnosis, so you're in good hands. That's what happens. It's not like it's not like there's more seeing, but there's seeing more. Yeah. So now you just start seeing more of what's going on. Yeah. It's great. The aperture is opening and you're getting more included. Instead of being the one who's seeing through the aperture, you're being seen from a larger aperture now. Yeah. It's cool. I'm happy that you report it. Yeah. Keep coming back, bro.
Yeah. When you talk about the larger aperture, I start to wonder, like, is even this talk about seeing oneself, is this like in like the video game where you're looking at your character from a third person perspective?
What you would, in that case, the one that's looking at the character is the character you're really looking at. There's another step behind those two. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there's a character that there's this looking, but no, that's the character that's looking at the other character. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
When you see what you're not, you see sort of a two. And there's, as the old faith mind would do, you yell not two. Yeah. You see sort of like when the aperture opens up and then there's a seeing, yeah, the head reacts and claims to be the seer from that new aperture. Yeah. And so a lot of times people catch that first aspect, but they don't catch that second aspect of the quick claiming of wherever you are to imply the one that you just saw as an object about 5 seconds before. Now it's appearing as the subject, yes? Yeah. That's the mechanicalness. You recognize it, you get on that ride, maybe you got to go 5 bumps or 8 bumps, 12 bumps, but one of those bumps, there's like it can be a quantum leap. Yeah. Yeah. You get to, you get the gig, so to speak. You get the sense of mechanicalness. Yeah. It's not a surprise, in other words. You recognize that if there's a thief, there's got to be a policeman nearby. I bet you if we took a little survey of the people who've been coming here, they probably have gotten less and less every week, but they're traveling more and more lighter. Now, the mental logic would think it would be the other way. They'd be getting more and more of what's going on. But no, there's less and less interest in getting it, and there's more traveling later. Yeah. That's not an unusual abstract phenomena. That's how it works.
That sounds very true. Like that hits something, because like it's something I noticed when I first showed up is I wanted to get whatever it was, and then you kept saying like, no, you have to give up. You have to let go of things, and that seems to be the case. It seems like it's like yeah. It's like I'm supposed to be getting anything. I'm supposed to be giving up things.
Yeah, see, so it goes really the totally opposite direction. So there's a mental logic that's usually been applied to all the interpretation, and it's quite faulty. And now you got another flavor, and it may go against the historical familiarity with the failed system, but you're feeling different. You're traveling better. So there you go. Yeah. Like I used to say, one of the reasons, if I was projected back in the past, and Paul, when he was like 19, and he entered spirituality with a huge sincerity, it would be because he was afraid of being where I am now. That's what motivated him to search and become more and more spiritual, hence more and more special. The ordinariness would have killed him. And yet all the spinning and shit like that, and look at what happened. I mean, since I was 6 years old, seriously, there was a lot of things going on, but I could comprise one theme, and I was just trying to get out of here in a lot of ways. Yeah, reading science fiction or Edgar Allan Poe or watching Twilight Zone or whatever, and then doing sports and doing all that stuff, and then spirituality, drugs, and everything, and all like that. And pretty much wanted to get out of here, basically, or what I thought I was. Here I thought I was in, which is completely mental, but I thought it was here. And I gave it a good go. And then it finally got exhausted, and now that desire to escape or to transcend or to split, and in spiritual circles that would be called liberation and shit, I've lost complete interest in all of that. completely. I don't know how it happened, but I have no interest in getting out of here, really. Yeah, because I know I can't escape from an imaginary place. So basically, yeah, I never get gypped. I'm here all day. I'm here when I'm sleeping. I'm here when I'm awake, seemingly. It's just never not here, as my friend used to have as his website. So, yeah, it's surprising because it's really, people say thinking makes it so, but I really think interest and attention sort of makes it so. And when the interest and attention moves and shifts, uh, something that seems so solid really is seen through pretty easily. Yeah. It's not like a big Herculean task to get out of what you're not in. Yeah. Yeah. So it's part of the being interested in being in it is the desire to get out of it. Yeah. It's a dualistic dance. So the in has to get established for the desire to get out to be driven. Yeah. And basically, so many of us have taken that or been subjected to that course. This is real and I want to get out, never noticing that the out is the bigger in, really. Yeah. The real slavery is constantly trying to get out of what you're actually not in. So this is sort of like uh, realizing there's no need to have a solution to an imaginary problem. Yeah, and then what? And you know, to to leave an imaginary place, how long is it going to take? No time. What do I need to do it? Nothing. Yeah. So it was completely opposite of how I was thinking. Completely opposite, and that how I was thinking cannot do that. It can't. Yeah. It's programmed. It cannot do it. Yeah. And that's how you start noticing its failedness, and it can be a shakedown cruise, but it ends up as a hallelujah, really. It really does, yeah. Because things are put to a end, you're convinced, and you don't spend a second looking for what can't be found, shit like that. Yeah. All right, anyone else going on? Is that Jennifer from Arizona down there?
Hi, yes. I'm
Jennifer,
actually in
you
Colorado.
gave us that
Hi.
giant Zen bitch slap, and then disappeared for a few weeks. That was
Yes.
that was a sweet move. I like that. You were silent for a while, and then bah, and then there poof, you were gone. Pretty good.
And now
My,
I'm here. Yeah.
yeah. All's well.
All's well. Yeah, I'm in Colorado now. I was visiting Arizona.
All right. Nice to see you again, honey.
Oh, very nice to see you, Paul.
Mike, anyone?
No other hands right now. Anybody want to raise their hand?
Well, we can start saying goodbye, and then if someone wants to, they can. Yeah.
Okay.
Mike, always a pleasure. Hey, I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Yeah. Hopefully. Judith, always. Yeah.
Always. The magnificent Paul Hedderman.
What was that?
The magnificent Paul Hedderman.
Yeah.
Never a disappointing meeting.
Well, that's because of us, really. Yeah.
Really.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always a pleasure, honey.
Likewise.
Nice to see you. I mean, I never see you, but I like that color.
Thank you.
We got Sanda. She's under the roof again. I dig that little yeah. It's rather large too. Cool. All right, Linda. Linda, the little love nugget from somewhere. There she is.
From Minneapolis.
Oh, from Minneapolis. Wow.
Yeah, a lot of celebrations going on.
Yeah, yes. Minneapolis has become yeah, yeah. Well, I love the idea of AA. We don't have any opinions about outside stuff. We just try to.
That's good strategy. Paul, I just wanted
Yeah.
to say Sunday night, I heard you at that awakening group. It was masterful. You just nailed it. I mean, it was amazing. So thank you.
Good. Thank you. Yeah. You got to make the most of those guest appearances, you know.
You did it beautifully. And I see it's been posted on YouTube, right?
I think so, or it's going to. Yeah, they sent the link to me and Mike, I think, so it should be
I
up
would
there.
recommend anybody who didn't listen to it Sunday night, listen to it.
Oh yeah, it's called a group called Awakening Together, which is a little weird, but yeah. But yeah. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for being there. I always like to see people I know at those things. Yeah, it's nice. Yeah.
Thank you.
Robert French, my man in New Zealand.
Paul,
Nice to see you, my friend.
thank you for what you do.
I want to thank you, Robert. I mean, you've been a rock since you entered our little Zoom life. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Johannes, my main man from Germany. How are you?
Hi, Paul. Thank you. What resonates is this idea of trying to get out of here. So I recognize it quite much with me. So yeah, and I get lesser and lesser. That's good. Thank you.
Fantastic, bro. Yeah. Well, we're in this together. It's cool. Anu, beautiful name. Nice to see you, Anu.
I loved your, you wrote somewhere the pointless point. Thank you for that.
Oh, yes, yes, yeah. You're welcome. Hey, here, we got Murderers Row here. We have Brahmi, Sanda, and Anu, the Indian faction. Yes, very nice. You're taking care of yourself, Brahmi? She's got to get up, yes.
Yes, sorry, I have a kitty cat on my lap. I couldn't.
Oh, great, great, honey. You're looking quite.
Everything. We're having a unseasonably rainy day, which is nice and cool because it's been up to 106. But yeah, surprisingly so. But yeah, all is well.
Oh, good, honey. It's nice to see you.
Good to see you too. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, you're welcome. We got iPad 3. Well, you look like an iPad third generation. I see you. Nice to see you, iPad. I know. There's a way to unmute yourself. Yeah, on the top of the right with the 3 dots, I think. I don't know. Or Mike, can you unmute iPad 3?
I can only ask them to unmute, but they still have to do something. There we go.
I think you did it.
Can I unmute?
No. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Yes, this is the first time, so I didn't know I had to name myself. So it took the name of my iPad.
You can say
so
name.
I saw you Sunday. Sil. The name is Sil.
Hi, Sil. Nice to meet you. See you again.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Yep. We got Stefan on Having Never Left, as always. Clifford, he's been involuntarily muted for months.
Am I still muted?
Oh, no. We heard you.
Oh, dear. Paul, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, cool. sometimes, Paul, I think you're at your best when, you know, like we're at this meeting and everyone's kind of on side. I would say, yeah, that's true, Paul, and you know, I'm experiencing that. Sometimes when I see you with someone who's, let's say, not on side, I've seen you at your best then. You know, I remember 2 or 3 years ago in London, there was a guy. He was a doctor, and he was saying about it's hope that kills people.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And you know, if we was all on side, we'd just agree with you. But I think it's important because everyone has them little doubts. I think in the dual state, but it's level confusion, isn't it? Sometimes when you're hopeless, you need hope.
Yeah.
And like you was fucking passionate to him, and I love that.
Remember that guy
because you're human.
Yes. Well, he was
sent in.
He
was
job. He was set in for a job. I knew it. I can tell usually when people come in, there's an agenda. So.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is, you see, we want to have a rigidity, but as the mind, the big mind itself before everything, that rigidity is based on that mind, not based on the thing. So yes, at a certain point is incredible. At another point, it's a disservice. Yes?
Yeah,
Everything is given the meaning. It doesn't have its own meaning. So when we try to freeze frame something and think that's it, that's what it is, it's always going to be a mistake, yeah? Because it's determined by the mind before it, yeah? Yeah?
Yeah, I suppose the trick is if you put a solid meaning on something, you can intellectually break it down as that's non-dual, you know, because it means this.
Yes.
But it's pretty inflexible and like the course says, it's level confusion.
Yeah. Well, any rigidity is sort of like caught between levels. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because on one level, that message flows. When it's tried to be enforced on another level, it's arthritic and rigid.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. Yeah. It's just, but you live and learn, really. You know, you see it enough times, and then something gets learned, and then you can sort of get around that sort of obstacle in a sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of just becomes less important.
Yeah. It's
about being right, I guess.
When it's held in a rigid way, that's beside the point. That's misleading. Yeah. Just get the communication is more not vocal. Yeah. So, but I remember that night in London. Yes.
Yeah.
That was a good meeting, though. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, bro.
Thanks, Paul.
Clifford spoke. I'm going to put that in the April 21st. Clifford spoke.
Can you put Spike? It sounds more authentic.
A Spike.
Spike. Spiketh.
Spoik.
Nice to see you, Spike. Yeah. All right. Well, let me go. And then he's in Chiang Mai, and now we got JP in Vietnam. So nice to see JP. JP has been loosening up over the months. Yes. Yeah, that's been very good. As JP, yeah. We got John K. John K is a trip. Yeah. Always nice to see you, John.
Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome, my friend. Jennifer, very happy to have a chance to see you again. Yeah. Mary G. There she is.
Hi, Paul. Thank you. Hey,
Oh,
can I just let people know there's a very small group of us who are meeting Monday nights via your Zoom link for AKIM, Course in Miracles. So if anybody's interested, yeah, it's really great.
My Zoom room is being used for, I hope not. Who knows?
we're
It's our
keeping
one-stop
on we're
shopping.
keeping on the message. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
So it's
I don't mind that. I mean, one time I looked up Zen Bitch Slap, and it was BYTCH or something, and it was like a soft porn site. So it was a little. I don't want to have any affiliations going on unbeknownst my attention. You know.
Oh, your former life. Yeah.
Zen Bitch Slap after dark or something. Yeah.
Oh God, that's funny. Thanks, Paul. You're so great. Thank you.
There's Keith. Nice to see you, Keith. Yeah. No one signed up for your mission, Keith, eh? No. Z, nice to see you, Z. Z fights for Z fights for my best interests. It's very nice. He goes out of his way to make sure I can swim in the lagoon he
Can you
lives
hear
in.
me?
What?
A little bit.
Oh, Keith came up? No, we don't want to hear about the mission that never was. Yeah.
You're not
All
coming
right.
through it very clearly.
Yeah, I came up.
Well,
No, it's not that. So I just want to say I'm using Friday nights for a citizens auxiliary police gathering. So
right, good.
Here in Boise. So if you want to help the citizens militia, it's Friday night at 7 p.m.
Well, we got the Tupperware on Tuesdays at 1. Yeah. And then there's the free book and free returns. Yeah. Let me go. There's John Reed. Nice to see you, John. I always miss you
So
when
I'll
you're
be setting up a porn site on your Zoom thing.
Jesus,
every other Wednesday.
Things could happen. You never know. You know.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. Hey, I was just thinking about earlier in the talk. I don't know if you were recording, but you were talking about how in early relationships or something, the person would not give you any credence at one point, and that was being met with fear. Yeah, because I'm trying to put it into a story, I guess. But once the snake skin has fallen off, what makes the difference possibly is you've seen that snake skin fall off a few times now, so it doesn't bear any fear, you know, or it's, oh, here we go again sort of thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's sort of like, let's say something that you thought had the potential to really screw with you can't. You have, let's say, 5 experiences of that. There can be a leap into an understanding of that. Yeah. So that's what happens.
Yeah.
Mind doesn't have to go step by step. Yeah. It jumps. Yeah. Things happen. Yeah.
It talks about that a bit in the catapulted into the 4th dimension. Yeah.
Yeah, sort of like that. Yes. So,
is that what you would define this experience as, leaving behind that ego or bearing it less relevance? Once it's seen with its pants down, as it would go, then nothing can be taken credibly from that source anymore, really.
Well, you know what? It's so more like the story is catapulted into the 3rd dimension.
Okay. Yeah.
Then you see that as not true, that you've never left the 4th dimension.
Sure.
And then you have a work visa to the 3rd dimension. But on your passport, it says you're not from here.
Okay.
That's how I
love your
see
work,
it.
man. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you for the message. Yeah.
Let's see. So we got Zlatko. Let's see. We got Jim. Jim has been above water for a while. I spoke to him the other day. That's good. We got Taj. Nice to see you, Taj. Very nice. Yes. Kerry.
Nice to see you, Paul.
Yes, nice to see you guys. There's Chad. Yeah, Chad, just stick around, Chad. Things are working out well. Yeah. We got Alex. Alex! Woohoo! A blast from the past.
Hi, Paul.
Yes.
Nice
How are you, honey?
I'm not good.
You know? You have my phone number still?
I don't know.
If you don't, hey, Mike can put it in the chat.
You want me to chat it to her?
Yeah,
Yeah.
please. Yeah. It's good to see you.
Nice to
Yeah.
see you.
Yeah, don't hesitate to call.
I probably will.
All right, good, good. All right, we got David W., our school teacher. Yes? Vlad, you're still in Siberia.
Yes, I am. Yes.
Wow.
Still I am. Traveling restrictions still.
Oh, you have travel restrictions, yeah.
Not here, but wherever I would think I would go,
Yeah,
there
yeah.
are traveling restrictions, so I better sit here.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you got to be clear, you know. You don't want to sit for 2 weeks somewhere. These people we know, they went to Barbados and, in the Caribbean, and they had to spend 2 weeks in a hotel inside. It was about their whole planned visit was in a hotel. So they actually saw Barbados, but from a hotel window. It's sort of a drag. All right, there's Julie. Nice to see you, Julie. Yes. Let's see. We got there's Brahmi again, and then we got Deborah M. and Eric. Yep. We got some Mike C. He's chilling out, and some other anonymous folks. Hey, thanks everybody. Yeah.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Paul.
Thanks,
everybody.
Thank
Thank you. Bye.
I'll see you tomorrow. And then there's a group that hangs out after the meeting. So if you have anything you need to share or say, take advantage of the space. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Paul. Good night.
Thanks, Paul. Bye.